Well, what a win by Pakistan in the first T20 match of this 3 T20 match series. Pakistan making 169 for 6 in their 20 overs. They were sent in to bat, and the star of the show once again was Mohammad Rizwan with his 104 not out in 64 balls. And in response, South Africa were just a bit short, 166 for 6. We saw that innings by Hendricks making 54, but in the end, Pakistan won by 3 runs. Well, Mohammad Rizwan is having a golden run. You saw that 100 by him in the tests, and now he's followed up with another 100 in the T20s, and then you saw the spinners in action, which were, I guess, the main difference between the two sides when you look at the result. I've been joined by Mike Hazeman and Bazid Khan. Hazy, I mean, there was a bit of a fight from South Africa, no doubt. I mean, it went down to the wire, to the last over. But then the spinners from Pakistan, I think they were perhaps the difference in the two sides.
I think they were. I mean, 8 overs, 2 for 42 between them. Both went for 21 runs in their 4 overs. So I thought their performance was great. I think from a South African point of view, I mean, if you think about the fact that these guys have arrived and they really want to sort of put on a show, they've got lots to prove with the main guys going home. They'll be heartened by this, they'll be buoyed by this. I mean, there's 1 ball in it really, just 3 runs, 1 ball in it. So even though they're lost, I mean, they'll know that they got very, very close, and it was a pretty good performance, I think, from the guys. And, you know, when you get the one other difference I thought was that the spinners played a big role. I thought Pakistan looked after the wet ball a lot better than South Africa did. I think in these sort of conditions, it was getting quite wet. South Africa struggled with it. I think Pakistan were really good looking after the wet ball, because you didn't see too many deliveries just sort of go totally haywire.
Yeah, definitely. They got off to a good start. Janim and Malan also scoring some runs. But Mohammad Rizwan, it's almost like anything he touches turns into gold, Baz. I mean, that's how good a run he's having now.
Well, I'll tell you what, he said in the interview in the test match, he said that Yasir Shah had told him that he'd only rate him once he gets hundreds. And I think South Africa would have thought, why didn't Yasir Shah just keep quiet? He's got 100 in a test match, he's got 100 now here. He's become the second Pakistani batsman who's got hundreds in all 3 formats. So, well, it all goes back to Yasir Shah. But yes, he's been fantastic with the bat. He's been fantastic with the bat for quite a while now. And I think the thing that's helped him, that he's come back to Pakistan's conditions where he's been brought up and where he's most comfortable at. And he's played magnificently. I thought today he surprised all of us with his power hitting.
And this is another gear, isn't it? This is a whole new Rizwan that I've seen before, and I think everyone in Pakistan will be delighted to see this. The fact that he hits 7 sixes, I mean, you get someone who gets 100. Think of the 100 runs he scored out of their total. I mean, that was just a magnificent performance. 7 sixes to him, 11 sixes overall. That was another difference in this game also.
Also, another thing is, Baz, that, I mean, if you look at Mohammad Rizwan, conventionally, he's known as more of a test player. T20, his inclusion in the side was always a talking point for a lot of people. But now he's beginning to score runs. That performance in New Zealand backed it with this one. So he's certainly somebody who's developed a sense of belief in his own self.
Yeah, he's progressing, which is great. We normally see a lot of Pakistani players come to international level and then stop progressing and actually go backwards. This guy is progressing with every game that he plays. Today he played those big hits, he hit those 7 sixes, and now you're saying, well, it isn't a bad idea to open with him, and you still think that Babar and him bat in the same vein, but if he can perform like this and hit those big hits, then you don't have a problem with those 2 opening the innings.
Well, he was given a couple of lives by South Africa, but generally overall their fielding was pretty neat.
Thank goodness. After the Test series, thank goodness. I mean, they were buzzing. The field was great. I mean, this was a terrific start by Fontaine. I mean, that's just remarkable. The way that he picked that up and released the ball, got rid of it so quickly, diving all over the place. That was a brilliant catch by the debutant. They were just scrambling left, right and centre. And this is really good to see. And I know the boys have spent a lot of time on this in South Africa and then again upon their arrival. So that certainly proved some dividends today as well. So good work. But that work from Fontaine, sorry, right at the top was really good.
14. You know, we've had a great time getting all these pronunciations right today, Hazy, but we'll be taking a short break. When we are back, we'll be looking at more analysis, so don't go anywhere. Well, one thing we've witnessed in this series, in the Test series as well, and the T20 now, is the level of umpiring has generally been really good. And when you have somebody like Aleem Dar, I mean, he's just been magnificent. He's been voted as the umpire of the year so many times, Baz. I mean, it's often a very thankless job when you look at it. People are quick to criticize, but to have that sense of judgment, it really does speak volumes of how good an umpire he is.
Yeah, umpiring is like goalkeeping. The one that you miss, everybody points the finger, but the ones that you get right, nobody really cares. But he's been phenomenal to be able to judge all this and be proved right time and time again. It's phenomenal. And we just look at his umpiring, but the way that he prepares before, he sort of prepares by standing in other games. He makes sure that all his preparation is right, actually, to get himself right into this level of umpiring. And it's almost like Mike Hazeman, like who has his notes all the time, he has his figures all the time. That's what Aleem Dar does. He has all his notes, all his preparation, and then he delivers.
I mean, preparation, Hazy, that's one thing that you don't normally think about when it comes to umpiring, but there is a lot of hard work and there's a lot of research, so to speak, that goes into it.
I mean, who would want to be an umpire? I mean, it's got to be the toughest job in the world. Aleem Dar, yeah, apart from Aleem Dar. But I mean, it's a tough job, and you're right. I mean, you don't get too many congratulations for it, but I think Aleem Dar's been a standout as an umpire for a long, long time. I've been a big rat for him, but I think we've also got to remember not just these good performances we're seeing at the moment, we've also got to remember the fact that this is a very big series for him, the fact that he's umpiring in Pakistan, which hasn't happened before. So COVID has provided that opportunity for him, and it was a proud moment for him when he walked out in that first Test match in Karachi. I know that. So well done to him, and well done to his partner as well. He's also done very well, so good work.
Yeah, what about Reza Hendricks? How do you think he fared today, Baz?
I think he did all right. He batted quite a long time, but he'll rue the fact that he couldn't finish it off. His strike rate at the back end did come up, but not sufficiently enough. You wanted him to replicate a Rizwan-like innings, but it just, in the end, Pakistan maybe had better plans or bowled better, didn't allow him to take the game away from their bowling. So he played well. He'll take this form into the second game, but he'll be slightly disappointed that he couldn't really add the impetus in the end.
I think something he did also was he was quite happy for Yanam Malan just to take over, and he took the back seat. I mean, his strike rate was very low initially, and Yanam Malan was taking all the strike, and he fired away very briefly and very quickly and played some very nice strokes to get to his 50. But and then he took over, and at one stage he was 31 balls for 31 runs. You and I were on air, I think, and then suddenly just catapulted and kicked into that 50 mark. And you're right. I mean, it was disappointed he didn't kick on, because that was the big difference, a century versus a couple of guys who got good starts.
I mean, definitely that's what we saw from South Africa today. A couple of good starts, but then, you know, the spinners came in and everything sort of came to a halt. We'll be taking another break and we'll be back just in a bit, so don't go anywhere. Well, one guy who's done really well in the last 1 year is Usman Qadir, certainly trying to live up to the legacy that his father has left. And you've played against him. Do you think he's as good?
No.
No.
But I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, let's give him time. But I mean, his dad was a genius. I mean, he really was. I mean, the way that he just whizzed that ball and he used to sort of just make that whirring noise all the time as it came down, and it was almost impossible to pick any variation in his wrong uns because of his quick hands, his quick wrists. But I was impressed with him today. He bowled very nicely. And what I liked about the fact that he got some really good turn early. I mean, that was just a magnificent delivery. It doesn't get much better than that, Baz.
No, not at all. And especially when the batsmen aren't picking them. He bowled with flight, he bowled slow through the air, but I think the confidence that he had was because the South Africans couldn't pick his googly, or they couldn't even tell which is which. So it made him so potent that whenever he hit his length, he was always in play.
And I think the fact that he did turn that one early in his spell got them thinking a bit. Here's a look at the work from Hawkeye, and you can see the variation that he did bowl. You can see that they weren't picking him at all, and it's just really good to see the terrific bowling in this over. Really good, and that nice variation to get rewarded.
There's changes of pace. He's got everything that you need as a leg spinner, and it's that doubt that he creates in the minds of the batsmen, Baz. I mean, Pakistan has been looking for leg spinners. You've got Shadab Khan, but Usman Qadir is just an asset now, and who wouldn't mind having two leg spinners in the lineup?
Yeah, it's a tough call having two leg spinners. I think that the interesting part now will South Africa go back and research and come back with a better plan, or be able to pick him in the next game. But yes, leg spinner turning the ball both ways. I think white ball cricket, if a spinner can turn the ball both ways, is obviously more potent. With the doosra going out of the game, the finger spinners have a bigger problem with the ball not spinning both ways. But yes, once they've not picked him, I think that was game, set and match right there. Because they weren't picking him, he wouldn't go for a lot of runs, and in turn, he just put more and more pressure on South Africa.
Well, thanks for your thoughts, Baz, and Hazy, you as well. And plenty of more cricket coming up. South Africa will definitely need to have some answers for Pakistan spinners, because it's not going to change much out here in Gaddafi Stadium. We've got two more T20 internationals for you. The next one is on Saturday, February 13th, and the third one is on the Sunday. Yeah, thank you so much once again, gentlemen, for your thoughts. It's been a fascinating first T20 international between Pakistan versus South Africa. We're certainly looking forward to the next one. But for now, from here, it's goodbye.